Okay, we are mere days away from a new Mad Max film. Now, to celebrate my podcast, Load Bearing Beams, which you should subscribe to on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we will be doing a full-length episode on Mad Max 2, aka The Road Warrior, that will be coming out this Friday. So stay tuned for that. Mad Max is my favorite franchise, and it is one of the only long-running film franchises where every movie has been written and directed by the same person, that being the great George Miller. And George Miller has a very specific style of filmmaking. The word that usually gets thrown around to describe it is fever dream. And so I would like to call attention to what is, I think, his most demented fever dream of a movie. And I am, of course, talking about the 1998 children's film, Babe, Pig in the City. Now, I think a lot of people, when they learn that the guy who made the Mad Max movies directed a Babe movie, they don't believe it. But if you have seen Babe, Pig in the City, it would be shocking to learn that anybody other than the Mad Max guy had made this movie. I mean, just look at this. I don't do drugs. This is a movie that makes me think maybe I should. George Miller had written and produced the first Babe movie, and he didn't direct it, but that movie is like a very gentle and a sweet and a mild children's film. But if you look closely, lurking, on the corners of the frame is that George Miller madness. So in the sequel, which he is now directing, he brings it front and center in every frame. And my little theory about why that is because in the late 90s, he was trying and failing to get Mad Max Fury Road off the ground. And so I think he channeled all of his Mad Max energy into the movie about the little talking pig. So if you think of this as a Mad Max movie, it makes all the sense in the world why suddenly Babe has had a wardrobe change and now he's wearing this goth spiked collar the whole movie. Okay, this movie opens with Babe nearly murdering his owner, James Cromwell, and it just gets more berserk from there. Like, the plane taking off is shot like a Mad Max car chase sequence, and once they arrive in the titular city, the movie becomes like another fever dream movie, Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid. Like, that is a movie about how the city will destroy you. Just stepping out of your front door, there's like a 70% chance you're going to get murdered. It's like what your terrified parents think when you tell them you're moving to the big city. Many people have commented on how many allusions to the Mad Max movies are in Babe, Pig in the City. The best known example is this sequence, which is basically just a remake of the Thunderdome sequence from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Like all Mad Max movies, there is a weird little cult that springs up centered on a charismatic leader, here the charismatic leader being Babe, as he doles out jelly beans to the other animals. But like thematically, this is very similar to the Mad Max movies. There's a scene where Ferdinand the Duck basically drops to his knees and says, "What is the point of living? All life does is grinds you down, chews you up, and spits you out. Why do we even go on?" And Babe represents the desire to keep going and keep working toward a better future. We all just need to work together and great things can happen. This is basically what Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior is all about. There's a very similar scene in that movie between Mad Max Rockatansky and Papagayo, the leader of the oil refinery community. But Ferdinand the Duck, he has every reason to be nihilistic. When he arrives in the city, he drops into a gun club shooting range and just dozens of people start shooting at him. Dozens of people at the Metropolis Gun Club, whose motto is all the fun you can have with a gun. This is a G-rated movie for children. And also in this G-rated movie for children, there is a scene of sweet little dogs and cats talking about all their problems with the world. One little dog says, "My human tied me in a bag and throwed me in the water." And so Babe is tempted to give in to the nihilism. The most famous scene in the movie has a dog chasing Babe, trying to kill him. And Babe basically gives up and he just asks the dog, "Why?" And this is like the ending of the movie The Strangers. Like, why? Because you were there. But then that dog nearly drowns. This G-rated children's film has a scene that makes you watch an evil dog almost drown as all of the animal friends you've come to know and love just stand and watch and let it happen. The movie looks incredible, as all George Miller movies do. The set decoration in the film is incredible. The city is an amalgamation of all cities, like the canals of Venice are just right outside the hotel, but there's also the Hollywood sign and there's the Sydney Opera House. And it's just shot so beautifully, and there's like shot compositions that make you just want to like pause and just admire what you're looking at. But there's also this sadness and this melancholy just lurking everywhere. And that's in the Mad Max movies as well, but I actually find the Mad Max movies very soothing, whereas I find Babe Pig in the City to be an incredibly anxious movie. The Mad Max movies are very optimistic, and I guess that this movie is technically optimistic too, but I find it to be more realistic about how just defeated, I feel just going about my life and just putting out fire after fire and encountering all of the obstacles life throws your way. So I recommend this movie, but I'm a weird adult who likes George Miller movies. So the question is, would a child like this movie? I have no idea. I have 2 kids. Neither has expressed any interest in ever seeing this movie, and I never wanted to force them to watch it. So I put the question to you. If you watched this movie as a kid, what do you remember about it? Did you like it? Did you know how strange it was? Or if you have kids, have you watched it with them, and what did they think?